All right, all right, all right. Happy Friday, happy Mercury retrograde, happy eclipse, happy Sun in Taurus. Like the list can go on and on. I did not even realize that. Today's guest was a bit of a last minute replacement for someone else who canceled, and everything happens divinely perfect. I think just a week ago scheduled Janet, and I was kind of like at first going, oh my gosh, this is amazing because it's such a powerful week with the eclipse, the new moon, and all that's happening in the universe. So Janet Lawrence is like the perfect guest to be here today to talk about what's happening in the world. And I think you're going to love her content, love her. And she's also got a very unique title. I've never had anybody on my podcast with this title. And so I just want to acknowledge if you guys are watching the live, I don't see any eyeballs yet, so I'm going to keep talking a little bit. If you're watching the live, we always want you to participate if you can. Hashtag live. Where are you tuning in from? What city, state, country? And then if you're on the replay, hashtag replay, same thing, because we want to continue to build community here inside of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. If you're watching on LinkedIn, YouTube Live, I just want to acknowledge you for being here today. And so, Janet, I'm going to introduce you. So I met Janet, I can't remember if it's now been 3 months, on Instagram. My last guest I met on Instagram, and she's also a channel and amazing. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to hang out on Instagram because that's where all the cool kids are at. But anyway, I instantly was attracted to the name she had on her profile, and it's Kundalini Goddess, Generational Curse Breaker. At least the Kundalini Goddess was the first part. And as you guys know, I'm all about breaking generational curses. So again, Janet, I can't thank you enough for shining your light, for being who you are, and for, our guides and master guides bringing us together. So how the heck did you get to be called a Kundalini Goddess?
Well, it's not something that I picked. When I went through my Kundalini awakening, I had no clue what was going on, right? We read about it, we read with the yogis, and I'm literally sitting there and my body is doing all these sorts of things, but I feel amazing. I've never felt this way in my life, right? And all of a sudden, there was like this trauma that I'd gone through in my childhood that no longer resonated with my body. Like it was like a total reset to my body. Then it was a total reset to my mind. Then a total reset to my surroundings. And I realized that in that moment, there were mindsets and curses that had been broken that just came out of the blue. And so I want to say this. I got my flowers here, my little sunflowers, because I'm going to do a petal ceremony with myself today because we don't do a good enough job of giving ourselves kudos. And like as soon as I came in here, like my throat chakra started to like trying to kind of close. Because during this season, during this eclipse season, we really need to be sentimental with ourselves. Yeah. We really need to be really, 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 really patient with ourselves because a lot of stuff is leaving and new stuff is coming. And we all know that transition can be tough.
Yeah, I was just telling you this week was a big ass kicker for me and my husband. It felt like we got completely shattered and a new layer of that snake skin came off. And I got to be honest with you, I was like, I thought I already did a lot of work. So why me? Why now? Yes. I know you were feeling the same way this week.
It was back to back for me. So I knew I had this radio show coming up on 92.3 Hits in Atlanta. However, I just applied out of obedience. I had started another job and got the email. Spirit was like, yep, this is your time, go. And I'm like, well, I don't have following. Well, I don't have marketing. Well, what do I do about this? And as crazy as it sounds, ever since I've started this, being a channel and doing the healing work that I do, I never get the download until 15 minutes before. It's always fresh. I never have notes, and it's like more people have to tap into that authenticity. Instead of trying to be what the collective needs, allow spirit, guide, universe, source to channel something fresh and new right through you. And I believe that during this time, especially the rest of this year, we're going to see a lot of new changes. We're going to see a lot of different ideas come together under one umbrella. Like, I really believe you're going to see church, you're going to see channeling, you're going to see card readings, you're going to see crystals. Like, you're going to see this stuff start to combine in a way that we've never seen it before, because people want total healing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want a Sunday message and go home and be the same.
No. Well, and you know me, I'm really big into plant medicine. I see that happen all the time. Or even using more of an easier collective example. How many people have seen Tony Robbins and walked on coals like 5,000 times and they haven't changed? Or the change has been very, very nominal. You know, we're always looking outside ourselves for the answers for healing. I don't even know how much money I've spent on healing. And what I'm hearing from you, if I can get to the point, is that a lot of that holistic healing, like, get as much done in one shot, right? So you don't have to keep doing all the things.
And if I could go back and do it all over again, I'll be honest with you, Ms. Lois, I would go to plant medicine. Like, that would be in my first quarter, because it helped me so much down the line. And I was like, whoa, nobody told me about this, So yeah, I'm glad that you talked about that. Can you go deeper into that, just for some of my audience members that want to do plant medicine?
Oh, bless your heart. Oh, sure. Well, and I want to come back to the Kundalini awakening too. I just actually started teaching on this. Came out of the spiritual closet. To your point, I got guidance. It's just time to be out there as a plant medicine woman, because I was afraid of some of the backlash. Obviously there's legalities and all that kind of stuff to consider, but I just am like, no, these sacred plants have been around for millions of years. I even have a book right here, the Psychedelic Gospels. Here's Jesus saying, hey, him, Buddha, Krishna, a lot of the greatest teachers and ascended masters of all time have been using plant medicine for going within. It's mind, body, and spirit transformation. So there's a lot of talk out there that plant medicine is just about reprogramming your mind and this, that, and the other. But I'm here to tell you, girl, I healed so much trauma with sacred plants, mostly mushrooms and ayahuasca. I purged physically, vomit, North Pole, poop, South Pole, and I shed 30 pounds because it was emotional weight and trauma and childhood pain, and then grief. I've had so many people die. I know a lot of people have lost a lot of loved ones already this year. And so it's just like, how do you heal that? Therapy wasn't working for me. Again, bless it. I think it serves its purpose, but the sacred plants are the greatest teachers, and they help you go inside to find your greatest teacher. Because I was all jumbled up, all that trauma, all of that default mode network, trauma responses, fight or flight, just go, 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 go. And I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I'd reach for alcohol. I'd go work, stay busy. But the plants actually reconnected to me, to my higher self, which I wasn't trusting, my intuition, which I shut down. And I even manifested an autoimmune disease in my throat in 2011 because I was so afraid to speak my truth. And the plants are like, and a lot of stories, I could go on and on about different beings, that died, came to me and said, hey, it's your time. It's your time to speak. And now I've come down on my medications. My autoimmune disease numbers have dropped by 100 points. I'm calling in remission. And it was a combination of the plants, breath work, and Kundalini yoga. So you're talking about my language of, how can we incorporate all of these different modalities that work with the chakras, that work with energy healing, that work with your own body? Because when your body's given the right things, it has the innate ability to heal. I mean, that's really what Jesus was trying to teach, but it got a little muddy. But anyway, that's a little bit of my story about psychedelics and how they helped me, but then incorporating the other things like Kundalini and breath work and mind, body, spirit.
I'm glad you talked about that, the Jesus part of it, because my 9-year-old, right? Once we went through all these tower moments, And he's asking me, because I grew up in the church, so I taught him the church, and then I just had a million questions, right? So I had to go on this quest. And I go, baby, heaven or hell isn't a place, it's a state of mind. And so back to your point, we were talking about the holistic eating, and I was telling him, try to eat the colors of the rainbow, right? Well, the unique thing about my son is, because divine spirit universe knew that I was going to lose my son, he came through to clear some generational stuff. My 9-year-old exceeded me in the spirit, so that if something happened and I couldn't get over grief, he could pull me out. It was the craziest thing ever. And so I says, so literally, because we're talking about levels in the spirit, I couldn't cover him the way I used to cover him, right? Because he was here and I was here. That was the reality of it, right? Okay. And so it wasn't until, I came up out of that I was able to guide him into this direction. And I was so glad, because I saw him shift from Bible, and I still listen to sermons, love them, right? I saw him shift from that to consciousness. And I said, baby, this is your path. And I said, I'm so excited you get to do it earlier. And I want to talk about this because I never saw myself working with kids exclusively, but I'm definitely taking that role. I'm definitely taking that role, because what I'm starting to see is, the younger we can meet the kids, the less internal work they have to do. Plus, these star seeds coming here these days, they already know the mission. They don't need the school. They don't want the fluff. They don't want the fairy tales. They want boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I love that. I wanted to acknowledge we have an audience now, guys. So if you're just joining us, I'm talking to, I don't want to say it wrong, so I keep looking at my notes. Kundalini goddess, generational curse breaker, my friend Janet, and we kind of we went a little bit further, and I realized there's people out here that don't understand what Kundalini awakening is. Can you describe that? And then I'd really like to talk about the generational curse stuff that you just alluded to with your son. But what is the Kundalini?
So I'm going to describe my Kundalini awakening in my words, just because I didn't know what it was when it happened to me. So what happened to me was, my body just started to vibrate, and it kind of went from my root chakra and it went all the way up. But as it was spreading up to these chakras, it was also going down to my feet, right? So for about 30 minutes, my body is just kind of vibrating. I don't have a care in the world. Like nothing. I'm just happy. I'm full of joy. I'm full of peace. I'm full of love. It's literally flowing out to the people around me. And I was like, well, wow, there's something to this. I didn't notice the effects immediately for me, but I noticed like my mindsets had drastically changed. My ideas around finance had radically changed. Like a lot of stuff radically changed for me. And at that point, it started to affect my 10-year marriage. Because I don't force people into healing. Even if I love you and I'm in a relationship with you, like, that's the universe's job. I don't do that anymore. If you want help with that, go see Miss Lois, right? And I met her online, and we met energetically. Like our energy just touched. We started talking about psilocybin, and we just kept in touch. It just went from there. Yeah. And so the Kundalini for me, it spreads rapidly. But if the people around you are not ready to shift, they will leave your reality. These last tower moments, the only people that I knew that weren't going to leave my reality were my 2 boys. That's it. That's it.
And that's all you need. I think a lot of times at least me, I'm a recovering business card collector, shaking hands, kissing babies, making friends, influencing people, how to win friends and influence people, that old networking book. Because I've been in business for 23 years. So it was all about who do you know, and almost, trying to be everybody's friend, and then I wasn't a friend to myself. That was part of my healing, the trauma over the past 2 years, but really recognizing that a lot of people have left through death. To your point, now with all of this awakening and transformation, people are just dropping away like flies, relationships. And I think there's, if someone's out there listening that may have some fear or abandonment issues around that, I don't know if we want to talk about that a little bit, because I think it can be really hard to lose people, whether it's to death or to this awakening. And I think people are scared to even talk about it because it's scary. Like you said, tower moments.
Yeah, so I'm a Kundalini goddess, but I started out as a death doula, right? Didn't understand what that was. Just heard it in the spirit. I was like, okay, teach me, I'll learn. Well, on the journey, I just learned just the journey of a soul and how unique each and every one was. And that, like, when your purpose is done on this earth, after you've added what you needed to the collective, or refuse to add what you needed to the collective, then you leave, right? But that whole process, I thought it was a process where as soon as your eyes close, or as soon as like that first light goes off in your soul, I thought that then you just kind of ascend, like your soul just kind of ascends to the light, not knowing that there were souls that were stuck here. And when I say stuck here, because when people grieve, if you grieve someone, they literally cannot leave this realm until you stop grieving, right? And so as I started doing Reiki healing, I'm just doing regular old Reiki healings, textbook stuff, right?
Yeah.
Go in and ancestors start coming in, angels start coming in, ascended masters start coming in. And one thing about the ancestors and the loved ones was there were a lot of people that were stuck here because people were grieving, you know? And I didn't know how to really help people on that level until I lost my kid. And I thought that I would never get over that. And one day I woke up and it was like, I don't have his stuffed animal. I haven't said his name. Wow, I never knew that I would ever get over that. You know, like it was a shocker. People were looking at me like, Janet, are you okay? And I'm like, as a soul, as a light being, if you tune in, your soul is going to tell you what's about to happen in your life. Just depends on how much you slow down and tune in. I knew my baby couldn't stay. Know why? Mary and Jesus kept coming to see me, right? Mary, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Jesus, they kept coming to see me through all of my healings. And I was like, what does this mean? And they were like, this was your initiation to channeling, to trust your intuition, to trust your gut, to allow what's in your head to flow throughout the collective. Because what I would do is I would have these massive ideas, but I would never let them go. I would never allow them to be created into this reality because I was always waiting on the next piece of paper. Had a call come in. The next piece of paper, the next branding that I was going to do. And it was like, no, just be you. Once you take that first, will come. I'm sorry, I got calls coming in right now, which are really but yeah, everything else will come to you in due time. So what I would tell everyone is be patient with yourself. Your guides, the universe, the birds, the bees, the water, they know what.
She's coming back.
So sorry. Mercury retrograde. I guess this is an emergency. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this, okay? So I tell my husband in 10 years, it's not there anymore. And he's looking at me. He's like, what? I'm like, it's just not there anymore. Because spirit is telling me in order to get to next. Sorry. Hold on one second.
Yeah, maybe if you put your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Yes, hold on.
If you guys are just joining us and you're seeing value in this show, please hit the share button. We're talking a little bit about everything, what's happening in the energies. We talked about the Kundalini awakening that she's had, the grief, the loss of her baby, and how that opened up and did a lot of ancestral healing and clearing, and how that then opened up her channel and her gifts and her authenticity, all very important things. So I'm just catching them up to speed because we have more people now. So if you guys have any questions, please also comment below. We will go a little bit longer today. So if you're just joining us, you're just right on time. So take it away.
Okay. I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, there was just this moment where I see
Talk to your
myself.
husband. Yeah, you were talking to your husband, and
I see myself going back through the cycle. I was having dreams about and unfortunately sometimes this is him calling me right now. Unfortunately, sometimes when people aren't on that journey of growth, they don't understand what you're saying. They don't understand that your soul has learned this lesson and it is time to move forward. And you can't pull them. You can't push them. I've even seen myself get to a point where I can't even guide people anymore. I've had clients and I've said, "You're coming to me, but I want you to tell me what your intuition says." And they tell me. And I'm like, "You don't owe me a thing." Just listen to your intuition because you need to elevate the collective. And the people that are supposed to come, guess what? They'll come. Doors are opening. And when I tell you big doors for 23, I have never seen anything like this in my life. Like you can literally do a quantum leap and be unrecognizable right now.
yeah. Yeah, I want to say something about that really quickly, if you don't mind, because you were talking about,
Sure.
doors are opening, and then in order for those doors to open, other doors had to close, and that's where the shadow work and the healing is so important. I think a lot of people are afraid to heal, and the doors aren't opening, to your point, because yes, quantum leap, absolutely. I feel like I've had one just this week and this past month. It's like quantum leap every week, but it's so hard for people, I think, to really understand that. Can you speak more about that?
When I talk about a quantum leap, at first I thought a quantum leap was something like that was going to be so amazing and there wasn't going to be anything that I didn't like involved. Wrong. All your buttons are going to be pushed and you're going to be guided. But once you go forward, you will get so much more than you ever imagined. Keep going, keep moving forward. Be around a circle of people who support you. Be around a circle of people who can tell you it's okay that you feel like you failed this test. Some of us we feel like we failed our test.
Yeah, this whole week I felt like I was failing big time. So just letting you guys know, and I've been doing a lot of work these past 2 years, but to level up, to get to that next quantum leap, you've got to be willing to surrender, let go of that which no longer serves you, which can be really hard. It can be relationships, it can be old beliefs, ancestral trauma. It can be, things that we get really comfortable with. Like myself, for example, one of my coping mechanisms for years has been alcohol. And like even this week with all of the stress and all of the tower moments that you're talking about, I reached for it again and I'm like, what the hell? And I needed to dig, and what I found wasn't necessarily exciting. It was still more shame from the ancestors, and also not trusting my intuition, which is so common for women, but for everyone. I think we shut that down in different ways, and I just was shocked, but so I just bawled my eyes out and just let it all go. If I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't even be working today. You know what I mean?
And I thank you for sharing that with me on IG before we got on this call because I was thinking, you know what? The energies are so heavy. I don't know about today. And then, like clockwork, something just kicked in and said, no, people need this information. People want to move forward in their lives. They want to know what tools are out there. They want to know what to expect. They want to know the good, bad, and the ugly. And so I did want to share that about my marriage because I told my husband, I was like, we've just come to a fork in the road. And I was like, unfortunately, I've been doing the healing work. And so our bodies don't even vibrate on the same frequency anymore. After I had my son, my wedding ring, it stopped fitting. It wouldn't even go on. And I heard the divine say there's a new covenant. Like, you guys have to offer each other a new covenant or this is going to end. So my husband thought it was going to be like any other time, right? Wrong.
Well, I think that's very powerful.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I got to Savannah this morning to connect with that Palladian portal, and I had been looking at it for 3 years, okay? I drove all night and got there at 5 o'clock this morning by the river. As I began to drive into the city, I began to feel the activations coming, right? And then, blam, reality hit me. You know, because I love my husband. I never had any intentions of not being with my husband. Like, that was just not in the plan. And it was like, well, you have to look at what's going on. Like, it isn't compatible anymore. And it was crazy because his mom and his late wife were in the spirit telling me, I thought they were leading me closer to him, right?
Wow.
They were saying, no, if he doesn't do his work, yeah, this is gonna be severed. And so our son together that passed, he told me that too. He was like, you gotta choose you. And mommy, one of your problems is you choose other people over yourself and you're stunting your growth. And it was the hardest lesson. And that's why I don't do one-on-one work. I mean, like group, like one-on-one work anymore, like as far as groups with healing sessions. Because when I go in, sometimes I don't know how to come out. And I noticed that with the Kundalini, I can no longer go in under a certain vibration anymore.
Yeah.
Have you had any experience with that?
That's interesting. It's funny because I'm just thinking about how much I can share because my husband and I we had a lot going on this week. And to your point, I also was like, oh my gosh. And I've talked about this with my audience many times where all these different relationships and frictions. So if one's evolving and the other one's not, I've seen so many partnerships, business, as well as marriage or just relationships break up this past year because you both got to be doing the work. And when I think about it, like to your point, like with clients, I don't think I've seen that specifically. I think the right people with the right vibration or frequency are coming, but speak more. Why did you ask that question?
Because I know, like, when I get on this radio show, I feel like it was prep. Because at first I was like, okay, I can do the groups. I've done the speaking engagement. Dude was like, no, you're not going to be doing that. And I think it's because so many people are about to wake up. Like, whatever's about to happen in the earth, and it is going to be major when it happens. When this happens, people are going to want to heal in droves. Yeah. But these aren't necessarily going to be people that know anything about the healing journey. Their soul is just calling them to you, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting because I felt the same way. It's like, I'm ready. And I'm
telling you, and it was crazy because you remember we talked and I was like, yeah, I'm going to start my own podcast. And then I hit you back and I'm like, girl, I got a whole radio show. And you're like, what? I'm like, come on, let's help people heal. Let's do this, and the pieces just fall into place. I was looking for a job in California and they didn't want to pay me what I wanted to be paid to hold space for others to do the medicine, right? So I was like, oh, well, another opportunity will come along.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you, my good friend, came along and I was like, this is my Cali girl.
Welcome to Hotel California.
Yeah. So back to Kundalini. It's so amazing. I see so many people about to go into it. Even now, I can walk into rooms and people start vibrating. They're like, what's going on with my core?
Amazing.
So I use it differently now because That's the type of stuff that can pull you into a dark night of the soul if you're not ready for it.
Yeah. How does someone know if they're ready for it?
You keep going.
Okay.
You keep going. You keep asking more questions. Your questions never stop. Well, why was this? Well, why was that? Well, how does that make me feel? You acknowledge that something isn't right or something doesn't feel steady and you want to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, cool. Because there's a lot of people out there that I see that are settling and not moving forward. But what I'm hearing you say is there's a big, I'm not going to call it a big bang, but a big shift that's still coming. And I don't know if you have any guidance or if guidance has told you a timeline for that big shift.
I specifically want to point people in on this 420 through this 5-5, right? 420, okay. We already stepping back into plant medicine, right? But you're going through it during these eclipses. So the power that it carries, it's different. The light codes that are coming down, it's different. So when you hear go, I had no intention of traveling to do a radio show 5 hours from my house because I live in Florida, right? Yeah. The radio show is in Atlanta, but I heard clearly, get there. There are downloads that are happening in certain energetic grids, and you know a lot about this out there in Cali. And you want to be where you need to be, or you want to be able to channel into that spot, because that intention of channeling, it affects the way the universe creates your experience and your reality.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting the unexpected. Like, I expect to get on there and my whole shoulder blow up because I have been through hell this week, and Spirit knows I don't have time to do marketing. I have not had time to do a photo shoot. I have not had time. And Spirit was like, no, I want you to come on there raw and uncut.
Yeah, that's like the breakdown before the breakthrough. I think that's what everyone, if you've had a week, I was telling her before the show, I did a little baptism in the ocean this morning with full clothes on because I just felt like I needed to cleanse myself. So I went in, I came out, and this woman was looking at me like, that was intense. And I was like, yeah, I needed to cleanse myself and purify myself after this week. And she's like, I know. Me too. And you're the only appointment that stayed on my calendar today. Everyone else canceled because there's a lot of sickness going around. There's a lot of things that are slowing people down or stopping them in their tracks, and they may be freaking out. And you and I had, like I said, the week from hell, but it's a good sign. That means you're just like something around the corner could be, to your point, your biggest breakthrough. So we wanted to bring hope today is the moral of the story.
Yes. Bring hope, bring love, bring cheer, bring authenticity, bring all of you. Show up as who you are. I showed up in here. I don't have lip gloss on. I don't have no makeup. My kids are driving me crazy, but this is who I am. Sometimes I show up like Mommy Janet. That's who I am at my core, Sometimes I show up as the little girl Janet, and all I want to do is have fun and have ice cream and go out and put my feet in the grass and swing my sundress around, But that's what works for me. And it took me so long to get here and not be corporate Janet that had to meet these numbers. And like you said, with the business card, collecting the cards. And so I'm proud of myself. And you should be too, because all is working together for your good. And everything you need, the universe will bring it to you right in time. But I will say this about these shifts. If you don't jump, these are shifts where you can't see it before time. Like, right. You can sense something in your spirit and you kind of know, but you can't see the magnitude of it until you jump.
Yeah.
Once you jump and go forward, that's when the magic happened. That's when, okay, so as a death doula, there are some people that are about to get out of the earth realm. Pay attention to these people because you may be these people's replacement. And a lot of us feel it. We feel it coming. We don't know how it's going to happen. It's because their job is up and your time at the mic is now. And we wonder why it took so long, but because we were learning those new codes, those new ways, those new modalities that are coming into the earth. And I'm interested to know, have you gotten any downloads about these new modalities that are coming?
Not consciously.
Okay.
I just know that I'm doing things now that I wasn't doing, a couple months ago. And so, things that are developing within me that seem second nature now that I wasn't doing, before. And so tell us more. What downloads have you gotten?
For me, it was coming in from the Syrians and the Palladians, right? And I just feel like another healing modality.
Mm,
It's okay, put it like this. It's not like Reiki, but it's not like violet flame, right? It's a very gentle energy. It doesn't do like Reiki does, but the transformation is more immediate. Does that
okay.
make sense?
Yeah, I totally am.
Um,
Yeah. Because
so
my
that's
husband's
what
channel as well, and he's gotten new downloads and processes that we're working on developing now for our clients and testing them on ourselves. So I can't say much more, but to your point, absolutely, I love that. I love that
yes.
because that's what we need, right? You and I were willing to do using our bodies as the vessels to clear the generational trauma, even though it really hurt and it really sucked. And our job as light workers, now you, me, people like my husband, we're out here receiving these downloads, these abilities, these processes, these new, like you said, cross between Reiki and violet flame to be able to help people that much faster. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, that's what I see because, like I said, it's going to be so many people, and I'm interested to see how the institution of religion theology is going to change because I see a huge shift with that too. I see almost them surrendering to the light workers, the spiritualists, and saying, "Hey, what can we do to collab with you guys because our numbers are down?" I've seen that so much that I'm just waiting for the switch to flip.
Yeah. I've heard that religion's going to go away. It's going to be more of churches will still be there, but it'll be more people being more accepting of gifts and channeling and abilities such as this. And I know I might be triggering some people by saying that, and I have zero attachment to what happens, other than I know my husband and I want to start our own psychedelic church at some point. So I feel like there's more of that also happening that I think will hopefully maybe help soften the blow or the loss, because that's a big one. I really worked on healing some religion wound stuff this year. I talked about it on my podcast not too long ago. And that's a big one. Patriarchy, religion wound, a lot of masculine wound, domination, control, power, greed. Yeah, that's going bye-bye. So we've got to have soft places for people to land to be able to heal that, because that I know was one of my hardest ones. And if it wasn't for plant medicine, I don't know where I'd be with that personally myself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It definitely helps a lot. I'm excited about that for you and your husband. Something like that came out for me. And we can talk about it later. I'll talk about it when it comes, but I see it coming at the end of August. I have no idea how this is going to happen because the building is so freaking big. It's so big, and I see things moving into like almost like spiritual communities, right? Where you go, it's a one-stop shop where like all of your needs can be met in this one thing. Almost like a Walmart. You know, you go into Walmart and now they got the super center, they got the home side, right? You got the garden, you got the freezers. Like I see that in spirituality all together under one umbrella.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I was just going to acknowledge someone commented, and I don't know, sorry. I hope this isn't happening for everyone, because I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you can't hear, unfortunately, but that's okay. Come back. The replay, we're getting close to wrapping it up here anyway, so hopefully you'll be able to get the replay later. But if you guys are still tuning in, and if you wanted to ask any more questions about Kundalini awakening, about the energies that are happening, the eclipse, she noticed, you guys, she said between 420, which is essentially the solar eclipse, to the lunar eclipse, is some big big energies. And that's why I'm just throwing it out there, especially if you're local in San Diego. Tonight, we're having a hape ceremony for these energies. We're going to be doing a plant medicine ceremony in San Diego on the 29th. We're hosting one in Phoenix on the 10th, and looking to do one in Minnesota this summer. So we're really wanting to get out to people to be able to provide more of these opportunities with the sacred plants. So please reach out to me, guys. You know the drill. Email me, lois@loiscoffey.com. If you have any interest, or if you want us to come to your city, to your church, to your temple, to your campground, we only can do so much, because these events are very, very healing, and very, very intense for my husband and myself, but so powerful. I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm definitely going to throw some events around the Kundalini Goddess Show. And you already know you're going to be one of my guests on there, but I want to throw some healing events there. Like, I see huge healing events. So let's definitely get together on that, because I know that's what the collective needs. And I have a voice on radio to help everyone around me that has helped me on my journey to reach more people.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. And that's something that maybe you can come on here, because I do have, just so you guys know, one quick announcement, and then I want you to tell people where they can find you. But my husband and I are wanting to launch, and maybe you can be a part of this, $20 a month for virtual remote healings. If you go to patron.podbean.com/Lois Coffey, I just launched this a few weeks ago, and looking to get more donors, sponsors to help bring the healthy, wealthy, and wise message, and it being a healing message, by the way, getting to the root causes of your health issues, your wealth or finance issues, relationship issues, all of it, and bringing people like Janet in, who are amazingly gifted healers, because it shouldn't be expensive, right, to be healed and to have healing. And so that's just one other thing that I'm working on building, but always looking to partner with others as well.
That is amazing. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the shifts listen. I'm not going to say punished, but I got kicked so bad today, because it was like, Janet, you have to use those modalities more often now. So something like that on Patreon will be something that I can just click in the morning, not even have to worry about it. It's there. It's flowing through my body. I can set the intentions, because some of this energy is to see, like, how bad do you really want it? Are you really over this? And sometimes it knocks us down, and we go get a drink, or we have a smoke. And guess what? We got to come back to the table and finish this job. So thank you for your transparency, because that is what people need. Healing is not easy. It is not pretty. It is not love and light all the time. It gets crazy.
Yeah, and the best healing, I mean, not to sound like you have to suffer, but I feel like the best healing is, like, you and I both, without even telling each other, posted about our tears, our fountain, our ocean of tears that we experienced this week, and putting it on social media, because healing is not easy. However, it's also not optional, given the world where we're headed. You've got to be able to ascend into that light body, to be able to be the light that you were born to be, authentic, whole, perfect, and complete. So we got to let go of the baggage, the emotions, the trauma, the pain, the digestive stuff, all of it. And so that's why I bring people like Jan on here, so you guys know about other stories, other modalities. Where can people find you? And I know you have a gift you wanted to give away today.
Yes, I want to talk about the gifts. So I channel bracelets, and I make personalized bracelets, and make based on the energy that I receive and what they need coming up. So what I'll do, whoever the winner is, I will channel your message. I will record it for you on my YouTube, and I will mail you the bracelet. Be advised, these are very powerful bracelets, and your life will change. And when that season is done, your bracelet will break. Okay. You can find me on Instagram. I only have the @Flow Healing Oasis Instagram up right now, because honestly, I did not know what Kundalini, I didn't know what the fullness of that was. And I think I didn't need to know because I had so many tower moments that were going to play into who that was. So you will see that. I will post it on my Healing Oasis page, and I will tag Lois as well.
I was just going to say, so how is it the first person that messages you on Instagram gets the bracelet, or how do you want to claim that?
However you want to do it.
Oh, okay. I like this. I like this. So if you guys are watching live or replay, go ahead and email me, lois@loiscoffee.com. Especially if you're on live, you're getting rewarded because you'll hopefully be the first person. If you want that bracelet, if you want that deep, profound channeling and healing bracelet from Janet, email me and just type bracelet and hit send, lois@loiscoffee.com. So you got to be the first person. I will look at the time stamp, and whoever does, I'll introduce you directly to Janet. And then that way you don't have to worry about, did I find the right person on Instagram? Although I will put your Instagram channel or tag handle inside of the show notes so that people can follow you. I'm so excited. Is there anything else that you haven't shared? I do have one more closing question for you, but is there anything else on your heart that you haven't shared or channeled or anything?
Yes, weird, but Archangel Uriel just came through, and he's focusing on the throat, right? So for a lot of us, it's like, let go, speak your truth, right? There are a lot of us that are still trying to hang on to the part of us that isn't happy, that isn't thriving during this season, that isn't getting the best of what they want. We're settling, right? Okay, maybe we don't have to be a star. Maybe we can just have a good job and just kind of get by. Spirit isn't doing that anymore. Think higher, think bigger, think better, and speak with your voice what you want. It's okay that you get angry sometimes and it comes out as jibber jabber, right? It comes out as self-sabotage. It's happened to me a lot of times. But get out, speak your truth, call in this amazing energy during this time, and just watch your whole soul just light up with magic. And be patient with yourself. There's a lot happening right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So if you are noticing you're arguing more, it is Mercury retrograde. If you notice that things are, breaking down, or, just some other things just that are asking us, I think, happening for us, to be patient. And I'm so glad you brought up the throat thing. I had, not only did I manifest an autoimmune disease in my throat, but I had laryngitis almost every year of my life because I was so afraid. And so this week, true story, I spoke my truth to my husband, but it didn't come out good because I was so scared. And it was like, and I said words. I'm like, oh, can I take those back? That didn't come out right. But guess what? If you're authentic, humble, humility has been like so helpful for me this year. If I mess up and I say it, I call it out, and with love, grace, and compassion, the more you do that, even if it's ugly the first few times, and there may be large, massive arguments ensuing, if your heart's in the right place and you've done the work, just trust that everything is going to be okay. Just trust that everything is going to be okay, and listen to that intuition. It's going to pay off. We promise you, it's going to pay off.
I love you, lady.
I love you. I got one more question for you. And just a reminder before I ask her that question, guys, if you saw value in today's show, sharing is caring. There's a lot of people hurting right now or freaking out, and maybe not even necessarily being honest about it. We've been honest. We've been very transparent about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how these breakdowns will inevitably turn into breakthroughs. But, sharing is caring, because someone may be inspired, and you might even save a life by sharing our message. So please hit the share button. So I always like to ask my guests this question at the end of the show, because it means a lot to me. The name of my podcast is Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, and it has a lot of depth for me. When you hear that phrase, healthy and wealthy and wise, what does it mean to you?
For me, it means alignment, right? Because I know that if any one of those are out of alignment, everything is going to be off. right? With this quantum leap that's happening right now in my life, it was because I allowed myself to be my healthiest. I allowed myself to align with the thoughts of absolute wealth. I didn't care how it came in. I didn't put any restriction on it. I didn't say, I'll do this, but I won't do that. It was just like a full surrender, and when that wisdom comes in, you just walk with such authenticity because there's so many synchronicities there. I mean, you're seeing it on TikTok, you're seeing it on Instagram. You look up at a billboard, you see it. You have a conversation, you see it. And so you're able to just walk in your truth. And I'm glad you have this question because this was my big epiphany today. It was like, you've been dealing with these power tower moments, but what happened to health? Get back in alignment with health. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll eat the colors of the rainbow.
And that's a great reminder for everyone, because I know a lot of people that are sick. Whoops, we lost it.
Sorry.
Oh, that was adorable. That was a tower moment. So that was her spirit saying, you need to go get some vegetables right now, girl. But the moral of the story is we just came from winter, right? There's a lot of stuff coming through your body. So please nourish yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. Hold yourself as best you can during these times. And if there's anything that Janet or I can do to help, please ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a very courageous act to ask for help. You're not alone. We're here for you. We love you. And thank you again, Janet, for being here today. We're going to go ahead and sign off for now. Next week, we're going to be talking about money. I have a holistic financial advisor who's also into the plant medicine space. So we're gonna jam about all of that and talk about financial success and what does that mean and what does that look like. So thanks, guys. Until next time, here's your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.